Roll call.
Board Member Robert Shayer,
Here.
Board Member Dan Dodge,
Here.
Board Member Brad Green.
Here.
Chairwoman Veronica Glover,
Here.
City Manager Derek Martin.
Here.
Assistant City Manager, CRA Manager Bonnie Loveday.
Here.
We have our City Planner Rebecca Cottle, and myself, the City Clerk Sharita Belcher. We have a quorum.
Okay. At this time, we will have the approval of minutes for July 16, 2026.
I'll have a 16. Got an 8?
Madam Chair, we made some, at our last meeting, we reviewed minutes of the previous meeting, and there were 3 or 4 things that were eliminated. And they had to do with the central business district. And I've not seen confirmation that those were incorporated into the minutes.
Okay,
The ones from July.
so can you,
So I saw them somewhere at the last meeting.
So they're mentioned in the printed ordinance, 2026-14. And one, of course, is the parking. The other is adding first floor residential as permitted use, increase permit front yard setback to 15. But there was another one that had to do with the approval process.
Right.
And basically what it was, it was that, that approval would remain with this committee, instead of the proposed city manager.
I thought they had printed that up because I saw those.
Yeah, I believe that was in there.
yeah,
Is it in there?
It's not in the minutes, but it's in the
Ordinance?
for today. Oh, it's
I saw it at the
right here,
workshop.
right here. Said actually just a 0 by, instead of city manager designates as planning and zoning commission. And parking relief.
Hey, Rebecca?
Yeah.
Those 3 items were in,
Are they in the text amendment?
they were in what you presented at the workshop.
Yes, we did
But it
discuss
was
them
all-
at the workshop, that there was there were no
Wasn't it,
actions taken
right,
at the
so here's
workshop.
parking.
It was the
There's,
June 18th meeting where you directed us to
This
make
is-
those changes.
Set to 0
Um,
by the planning and zoning commission.
The front yard setback, we didn't have a specific,
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, your beginning. Could you start over, please?
sure. The June 18th meeting
Yes.
was the meeting where you directed us to make those changes.
Yes,
And then we did discuss them at the workshop, but there were no actions taken at the workshop. So the ordinance references the direction that was given at the June 18th meeting. I do want to clarify the front yard setback, we were directed to increase that. It wasn't specified if 15 feet should be the setback. That was a number that we chose for this draft. That would still increase the setback but allow for rear parking, which is a requirement of the central business district. So the minutes likely wouldn't show that specific number, just the general direction to increase the setback.
Could you just read those 3 again?
Yes, we were directed to remove administrative approval for parking and setback reductions from being approved by the city manager to being approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission. We were directed to add ground floor residential as a permitted use. And we were directed to increase the front yard setback for the central business district.
Okay, so in order for that to take effect, what do we need to do now?
Well, before we answer that, I thought that the issue was not just with parking, but any request, any governance would not be with the city manager, but with this commission, this board.
Are we getting into discussing the actual ordinance? That's what we will be discussing tonight, is that
That's-
ordinance.
That's right. So my point is that we brought that up at the meeting. They didn't occur in the copy of the minutes that we received the following meeting. And I've not seen them incorporated into those minutes as an action.
Madam Clerk?
I've added that into the new amended minutes from that session. I added your notes. They went to the commission and now they're here with additional changes in the agenda items.
For tonight's.
Yes, ma'am.
And where are they?
In the agenda items, right? That's part of what you'll be discussing in the
Tonight.
presentation.
Where are they in the printed material?
We don't have printed materials because of the technical difficulties that we have, so she's going to hand them out.
Oh,
It's
okay.
part of her
Yeah, and I apologize, I want to make it clear, yesterday we were totally out of
No, I
computers and
understand.
internet, everything.
I understand. No,
They'll hand
You had a
out.
technical issue.
Yeah.
That's fine. I was surprised we didn't get them prior because it's been 2 months.
Right, we had everything ready, we pulled all the materials and then everything went down, so.
Well, I know that, but how nice it would have been not to wait 2 months. Obviously, because it's nice to get the change when it's fresh instead of waiting 2 months.
For the change in the minutes, or the change in the materials that came from the commission, because that just happened in the last meeting.
My issue was that when we got a copy of the minutes, they were lacking these elements. We never got a copy of the corrected minutes updating it
Correct, no,
prior to approval of anyone. It would have been nice for us to get the corrected minutes.
in the normal timeframe, you would, but with us doing budget and having all the things, we're having 2 and 3 meetings per week. I just got these minutes finished along with the 5-hour budget meetings, and so.
I feel for you,
Right.
and I understand. So it was just a combination of usual events.
Yes.
Thank you.
We are.
Minutes.
Okay, so the approval of the July 16, 2026 minutes. Okay, all in favor? Aye. All opposed?
I guess I'm a little confused too. So are we approving June's minutes? Because I don't think we approved June's minutes because we were concerned about some of the wording that was in it. And then July's minutes don't include June's minutes, so I'm kind of confused where June's minutes went. Because we should have to approve those, correct?
So June minutes, because I wasn't here in July, June minutes were not approved at July's meeting?
We had some questions on like who the second and some other things that were,
And I made the changes as requested, so the minutes were approved with the amendment.
With changes that night?
Correct. So I made the
They
change.
were approved subject to the changes.
Correct.
The ones just brought up and the ones that I mentioned earlier.
I was not aware that you wanted to see it again. I thought that meant I make the changes and then it's approved and I get it signed.
Would this,
Well, as a courtesy, it would be nice for us to see them.
would this board like a copy now? We can print them off, take a minute.
We can't print them out.
Oh, our printer's still down?
Yeah.
So sorry.
Well, once you get caught up, send them to us.
We can send, we can.
Okay, yeah,
sure,
because, yeah, that's what,
Yeah.
request,
Yeah,
That's what's in
just,
the, okay, I can do that.
okay,
just,
thank you.
just request it over, she'll
We'll do
provide
that.
it.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Sorry for the confusion.
all right, so we're good, so,
So today, we're just approving the July minutes. July 16th.
yes. Yes, we're
I'll
good.
make a motion that we approve July 16th.
Okay. It has been properly, motion that we approve the July 16th minutes.
Hasn't been seconded.
And I'm gonna get her to do a roll call on it.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm confused.
I'll second it.
Okay, it has been properly motioned and second that we approve the July 16, 2026 agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Okay. All right, new items. A, Central Business District text amendment. This is a proposed text amendment to the Central Business District provision in section 3.9 of the Land Development Code, including changes to front yard setback, administrative approval, and allowance of ground story residential use. And
I have a question. Are we live streaming?
Yes,
Have we tested it to see if we are on air
it's
on YouTube?
working.
Have you been on the site to see it?
Today's meeting or prior?
Today's this meeting.
It's on now, I'm looking at it. I can see it here through the laptop.
She watches it live over there.
Oh, great. Yeah, so you're on YouTube watching it. That's great. Thank you.
And just as a backup, I contacted city attorney. We go above and beyond by doing that. The Florida statute doesn't require us to stream live or be live. As long as we have an apparatus to capture the minutes, that's all that matters by law. And we also are recording this on a recording device as well.
I'm well aware of that. However, I'm also well aware of, in many meetings, it said we don't need to worry because we're live streaming and we have it on record. So we've stated that we rely heavily on it. My other point is that many people are interested in this agenda and can't be here. So it's very important that it be live streamed. And I'm delighted it is. Thanks for overcoming that.
Oh, absolutely. It was a rough day yesterday for sure. We also have soon, the things will also change in here. Our AV is being updated. All the equipment is actually been ordered. It's been delivered. It's here. The reason it's not in place tonight for you all is because it's going to take a little over a week to get everything installed. And we have meetings tonight and also on Tuesday after that. We'll start the implementation. So next meeting you guys will have, you'll have a nice screen. The presentations will be live streamed via our YouTube, and the people out in the public will be able to see the actual presentation versus just hearing it. Because right now they can't really see the presentation, they just hear it. So we will be growing leaps and bounds very shortly.
Who will be installing it, staff or the contractor?
At our IT company.
Yeah, great.
Yes.
Okay, so this new item, the Central Business District text amendment, Can you give us some
Sure.
direction on? Okay.
Yes.
Rebecca's got the mic.
Can everyone hear me? Okay. If you would like a printout of the presentation I'm going to give tonight, there are copies on the table over here. I do want to clarify before we start, this is a text amendment only that we're reviewing tonight. We are not reviewing the rezoning. When the rezoning came through the Planning and Zoning Commission, we were directed to make changes to the standards for the Central Business District. That's what we'll be discussing tonight. So there are maps included in the presentation. I just want to clarify so that that doesn't cause confusion, that there is an area where we are proposing to apply this that has been through the Planning and Zoning Commission and one hearing with the City Commission. But tonight, we're just discussing the text amendment. It's not the rezoning that's going to be passed or acted on tonight. So that's just for clarification.
So I have a question. We had a very fine workshop, and thank you for leading that. And it was well attended with great comments. Will we receive summary of those comments?
So we did receive a formal letter that was sent from one member of the public,
Which is in our package.
which is in your package. And then tonight, what will be your discussion is, we have made the changes that were specifically directed to us. Based on the workshop, what will be up to you is, do you want to make more changes based on the feedback you received from the public?
But respectfully, you're not answering my question. My question was, do we have a list of those itemized suggestions besides Mr. King's letter?
No, I did not provide an itemized list
Would you please?
of all the comments that were at the workshop.
Yes, obviously you have it because you incorporated the impact that we received. It would be nice for us to understand what they were.
Okay, so, just to clarify, so you want a list of all the comments from the public that were made, or you want just
Yes,
a
there were
summary
great
of
comments.
what the
There were
general
great
discussion
comments
was?
made, so we could have those comments.
Chair Dodge, are you looking for a summary of the entire meeting? Because I know we did record that, so we can provide that, and we'll work with Zevco to provide. Is that what you're looking for specifically, a itemization of the comments made and a totality of the meeting?
The comments made,
Okay,
well, because obviously it has an impact. And it allows us to understand the sensitivity of issues with our residents
yes, sir.
and business owners. And therefore,
We transcribe that, we'll provide that for you.
I
No
thought
problem.
you would.
Yes,
Great.
no problem, and we'll work with you, Rebecca.
So specifically comments from the public and not necessarily a summary of the.
I'm more interested in the public's
Just a-
comments and input. However,
I think with the report, it would be good to have the back and forth dialogue, so we'll have it in totality. We'll make sure you get it.
I mean, obviously, we don't want silly things,
No, but
like, good evening, how are you, or something, But, all right, well, thank you very much.
yes, sir.
Okay, so with the changes that are in the drafted ordinance tonight, what's included is an increase in the setback from 10 to 15 feet on Summit Avenue. The reason we chose 15 feet is that is an increase, but it would still accommodate the rear parking that's required by the Central Business District. So it's still less than the 25 feet that's required by the GC1 district. The number wasn't specified in our direction, so that was a number that we chose. The building size to footprint, that is a clarification that staff is recommending to make. When the original land development code was drafted, the intent was for the building footprint to be 3,000 square feet in the Central Business District. The way it was written and adopted, it says size, so that's just to clarify and make sure that the building footprint would actually accommodate what's allowed on the site. And just saying size would be too limiting if you're allowing multi-story buildings. The allowance of ground floor residential use to the rear of the buildings, that was something we were directed to include as something that would be allowed by right. We also have drafted it so that the administrative review and approval for waivers would be from the Planning and Zoning Commission and not from the city manager or their designee. This is the current dimensional requirements in the central business district. So as you can see right now, the front yard setback is 10 feet along Summit. Along
May
Central,
I just make a comment?
yes,
And it's a common area. It's not Summit Avenue, it's Summit Street.
yes, I apologize.
Is that what you put?
On the,
Here, see the first one in orange?
yes, okay, that's a typo, I'll correct. So to compare, the way this is written, it doesn't say Central Avenue. Summit Street would be 10 feet, Central Avenue would be to the property line. So we clarified that here. And I do need to correct that to Summit Street. Central Avenue, Summit Street. So Central would be 0, build to the property line. Summit would be 15 feet. And then for other streets, we have listed still the 10 feet that was in the original. And then we struck this language just to make this clearer. This is the change that staff recommended, this building footprint. We changed size to footprint. Again, that's just to make sure that if someone had a 2-story building, which there aren't any, they're not too limited by saying the size, to make sure that's applied correctly. Are there any questions on that? Okay, the other change was to the uses. This is something that we did receive feedback from the public on during our workshop on July 30th. In this particular draft, the only change to the uses that we made was the use that we were directed to make, which was the ground floor residential use to the rear of a commercial building. We did receive at least one letter from a resident, and that should be in your packet behind the drafted ordinance. And that did recommend changes to the proposed uses. But in this particular draft, that's the only change to uses. Are there any questions about that particular change? Okay, this is an updated map. Again, we are not reviewing the rezoning tonight, but this is the area where this would be proposed to be applied if the rezoning were approved. I'll zoom out a little bit here. Since the uses were brought up at the workshop and in the letter that we received recommends moving the uses that are allowed in general commercial to also be included in the central business district. So the reason the maps are included is to show where the general commercial zoning would continue. And then, so that's the red shading, which is that more suburban style zoning that allows for things like, shopping centers, larger scale retail, requires more parking, and then the area that would be the more focused central business district. So that's what that larger map is to just show the comparison of those areas. At the workshop, we had a Venn diagram that was difficult to read, so this is to help clarify what uses are allowed in both the GC1 and the Central Business District. Retail stores are allowed in both. General and professional offices are allowed in both. Grocery, fruit, vegetable stores, those are allowed in both. Restaurants are allowed in both districts, although the Central Business District, the way it's currently written, does not allow for drive-throughs or fast food. And that's to, again, encourage the ideals that were put forward in that master and vision plan where you have people walking and not driving primarily. Personal services would still be allowed, bakeries, bed and breakfasts, they are conditional use in the Central Business District, so they would require additional approval. Childcare are a conditional use in both. Dry cleaning, florist shops, and photographers or artist studios are allowed in both. Okay, these are the lists of uses for GC1 versus CBD, excluding the ones that are allowed in both. Some of the things that are different, GC1 does not allow any residential uses. Central Business District, the way it's currently written, allows residential on the second floor as a conditional use, and then as proposed would also include ground floor residential as a conditional use. Something that came up during the workshop were the prohibited uses, and this is also mentioned in the letter that's in your packet. So both zoning districts have prohibited uses, but they are written differently. The way the GC1 zoning district is written, anything that is not specifically listed is not allowed. In the Central Business District, there's a specific use, a specific list of uses that are prohibited. And I believe the reasoning for that is that it removes any potential interpretation that those particular uses would fall under some of the other categories like specialty retail. These were recommended by the previous city manager, Charles Rudd, who specialized in downtowns. So I think,
But he's no longer with us,
right. But that's just where,
so we have the responsibility.
right, but that's the history of where
Right.
this came from. And I think his thinking was, some of these uses like big box retail that usually is associated with large parking lots, that also may not be the type of development that you want to have, on Central Avenue, for example. Certainly not something that you're probably going to grant setback waivers to. Some of the things, auto part sales, that came up. Again, I think he was thinking, what sorts of uses promote pedestrians and anything where you have vehicles coming in and out. I think he saw that as a deterrent. So drive-throughs, fast food is on here. Other things that would, if it was just a planner interpreting it, could fall under retail, like pawn shops, smoke and vape shops. That could be interpreted as retail, so I think that's why that was specifically listed as prohibited. Tattoo shops, again, personal services, it could be interpreted to fall under that. So I think that was just to provide extra clarity. Again, if you want to revisit that, you would basically be trying to decide if you want to add these uses back in, strike them from the list of prohibited uses, and how does that affect the overall goal of this downtown district. We talked about uses that would be incentivized. So those are cafes, coffee shops, bakeries, galleries, specialty retail or gift shops, restaurants, and bars. And the incentives specifically would be in the form of waivers to parking and setbacks. And then the reasoning for why are these incentives? A lot of the properties downtown already do not meet the dimensional requirements of their current GC1 zoning. So this would alleviate the need if someone came in and wanted to buy a property that's, for example, right now maybe used as retail and they want to turn it into a bakery, vice versa. If they came in under GC1, What we would have to do is look at the parking requirements in GC1, and anything that they don't meet, they would need a variance to. If they want to expand, add outdoor seating, that would be considered additional commercial area. So again, that's more variances, which adds time, it adds uncertainty. There's, more potential for that to be denied or slowed down. That can affect their investment. So this is to remove a barrier to current or future business owners downtown. All right, and I think as part of that conversation, it's important to talk about the difference between variances and waivers. Variances have to be reviewed against specific criteria. So when we bring those to you for review, we are making a recommendation based on that specific criteria. Now, obviously, you can disagree with it, but they are a little stricter in terms of how you evaluate them. The applicant has to show they have a hardship. Usually, it has to be something physical about the property. It's a weird shape, it has strange topography, something like that. And there is more public notice required, so there are letters that are mailed to adjacent property owners within a 300-foot radius. They have to post a sign that has to be there 7 days prior to the hearing. So there is just generally more involved in the review of a variance versus a waiver, which is a little bit more flexible. They don't have to pay for the public notice, so it's a faster process. This is just informational. These are the criteria that we have to weigh the variances against when we're evaluating them. And then the last change was reassigning the administrative review or approval for those parking and setback waivers from the city manager to the Planning and Zoning Commission. So that is under the incentive section in the Central Business District standards. So we struck city manager or designee and replaced it with Planning and Zoning Commission so that you all would have the authority to review those waivers. About how the Central Business District interacts with the Historic District overlay and the CRA. So this map shows each of those boundaries. There are rules tied to each of those boundaries, but those function differently. So the Central Business District is just a zoning category that primarily regulates dimensions. So things like setbacks, height, lot coverage. It also regulates uses. The Historic District and the CRA are not responsible for applying dimensional standards. The Central Business District has some architectural standards that mainly apply to glass doors and windows, have to have 20% glazing, and the colors are limited to earth tones. The Historic District and the CRA do have more architectural standards associated with those. The Historic District, the process is a little different. I know you all are familiar, but basically involves designating historic structures and then providing oversight to ensure that they are not changed to the extent that their historic character is altered. And then the CRA is a special tax district that allows the city to create grants and issue grants for things like facades and other improvements. That also has some architectural standards associated with it. So more window glazing. It has limits on blank wall heights and widths. So you can't just have, a blank flat wall for more than 50 feet. And again, I think the intent there was to just make sure that anything that came in new to that area fits what's there now, that historic structure. You have smaller buildings with varying frontage and different architectural features. And it does emphasize traditional materials like brick and stucco like you have in your downtown now. The next page is just a bigger version of the map. Again, this is just informational because it came up at the workshop. So I just wanted to make that larger so that people could read that more clearly. And then we come to, before you start your discussion, what the options are for the next step. So you can approve or deny the changes that we've made and forward it to City Commission. You could direct us to make further changes based on feedback that you've received, or if you feel like the way that we've drafted the revisions to the standards do not fit the intent that was given to us on June 18th, or you could continue it. So those are various options. The City Commission will wait to hold their second reading of the rezoning until this text amendment has caught up. So they want to be able to review the text amendment before going any further with the actual rezoning process. So I do want to make that clear as well. Are there any questions about any of the information that was in the presentation or in the drafted ordinance?
I have a question. Ma'am,
Yes.
thank you. The ordinance that was provided with the changes in here has the prohibited uses and the permitted uses. Will this body and or the commission have another chance for those to be changed? I know some of them were Charles Rudd's. I have my own changes that I wanted to make to those that we have not been able to get changed yet because we haven't had that discussion, Mark and myself, to bring to this body. But do we have another chance, or is this?
Well, it depends. So that's a decision that this body will have to make tonight. If they want to make further changes, they can discuss what changes should be made. They can direct us to go make those changes, and then we would basically go through this process again. We would go back, make the changes, and then come to the next meeting with those updates, and then again, review it, have the chance to either approve it, deny it, revise it further. It's really up to you. If you like it the way it is and you want to forward it to City Commission that way, you have that option. If you don't, you can, you just direct us to revise it further.
So at this time, he would need to present those changes to us tonight?
No,
Or,
we could postpone,
okay,
do it later, and everyone could have more time to consider recommendations, including the public. I know I have a lot of recommendations that I'd like to make.
So I think that would be the discussion tonight, is what further changes you think need to be made. And then after you've talked through that, you would be able to act and decide how you want to move forward.
Or give us more time, there's no hurry in this.
Right.
So give us all more time to give thought, and the public to give thought, and, the residents and the business owners that were greatly impacted, and the vision of the future of our village. So that's my thoughts on it, that's my opinion. I mean, I'm all for, doing what we can to bring back our great village. I mean, it was successful beforehand, hugely successful, with a lot of variety of support of businesses that supported our community. And there's no reason that can't come back. Obviously, a big box store is not gonna pluck themselves down in our business district. Anyways, but I do have comments that I would like to gather and propose at another date in writing.
Brad, do you have comments?
No.
Okay,
I'm good.
good with what is presented, or,
I don't have any other comments at this time,
okay,
so.
I don't have any other comments on that.
okay.
My other point is that, I'm still concerned, as I've stated from the beginning, that we haven't heard anything on the historic, preservation ordinances. And it's been months. Is there any update on that?
I apologize.
Update on, say that again, because I
The
didn't.
historical ordinances,
There's no update at this time.
how many months has it been?
It's
6?
less than that, but
Five?
it's been between the planning and zoning and our city attorney.
Yeah, I'm well aware of that,
Yeah.
and, but we've not heard anything.
We had brought it preliminarily up to the commission, the last meeting, we discussed where it was as well, and that it still needed some work between the city attorney and planning.
So you updated the city commission,
It updated the city commission.
but you didn't update us.
We didn't have a meeting with y'all, this was just in the last meeting, and it's in the city manager's notes.
I see, okay.
Yes, sir.
You know, you don't need to wait for a meeting to update us. But anyways, again, as I've stated earlier, I think that, it's important to have that established before this completely goes forward. Obviously, the impact is very important.
The historic district does overlap. There are a lot of the same properties that are in the historic district, in the proposed central business district, and in the CRA, but they do function differently. So the historic preservation ordinance would be a separate ordinance that would come forward.
Well, I understand that, but they do react, most importantly.
The historic district won't affect the uses or the dimensional requirements that are in the zoning. That will specifically be zoning.
Say that again.
The historic district doesn't regulate the uses or the dimensional requirements that are in the zoning. Those are separate.
However, the usage may impact the historical.
As far as like the changes to the buildings,
Right.
because I would describe the historic district as
Well, let me
more of
put it
an
another way.
architectural.
Let me put it another way. What's the rush? Why not wait? Give time to develop this wisely with more public input.
Well, this is the process for public input and developing the
I'm
code.
saying together,
Like, together how, like,
at the same time that we have the historical preservation ordinances. Actually, quite frankly, I'd like to see that first.
And I believe our planners stated before that they're two wholly different items, and that's why they're being separated between meetings. So, I mean, if it's the wish of this board to put them together, I'm sure that can be obliged.
The timing. Yeah.
Okay.
Alice wants to speak.
so, hold on, Ms. Ellis. So, I guess right now we can open it up to public comment. So at this time, we'll open it up for public comment. Ms. Alice, you can come.
Alice McCoy, 315 Old Summit. The problem is, if they're not done together, the historical part of it will have no clout. We will have no way that it will say you need to do this or you need to do that. Is that correct, or am I reading that wrong?
There's already provisions in there for historical preservation. What we're trying to do is to give it a little bit more teeth and for us to be able to get CLG certification.
Where are they? The current ones? The current ones?
The current LDC has provisions for historic preservation.
But they're minor.
They are minor, but they still cover it. What we're trying
Well-
to do is give
But you
that,
have no clout if you don't put it in there in the right, the right, words. It will have no clout. It doesn't make any difference to say it exists if it has no clout and no way to get it enforced.
Quite frankly, their weak is water,
the new one is not, and
but we
has,
haven't seen it.
it's not ready.
Have you seen it?
I've seen it.
Ah, I'm not sharing.
Yeah, right now, like I said, it's between the city attorney and Mark Corrett, our director of planning. It does have teeth, it incorporates all of the provisions that were provided by one of our commissioners that worked with the state and historic preservation through the state, make sure the language was correct in order to have the CLG. The biggest issue that was brought up to my attention from a legal standpoint is that we had two ordinances, one that was already existing that had provisions in place, and a direct new standalone ordinance that had conflicting information that did not coincide together. So we would have two conflicting ordinances. What we did was we brought them together with our planner and legal to say, okay, we're going to update and amend the LDC. It's not quick work, especially when you're trying to make sure that everything is legal. So that's where it's at right now.
So we're still working on that.
We're still working on it, and I'll be honest too, our city attorney has been inundated, his partner has become a judge, there's been a change in his practice, and he's still handling multiple cities, so he's behind a little bit in work. But he's catching up, and one of the biggest things we have is the amendment to the LDC, so I'm actively working with him to get that done to bring to you all.
And when do you think that may happen?
I'm hoping within the next few months, if not sooner. I mean, we're pretty close to being complete.
5 months?
Yeah.
2 months, that would be 8 months, going on to a year.
We're almost done with it.
So,
Go ahead, Bob.
correct me if I'm wrong on this. When we were looking at two separate issues with two separate ordinances.
Yes, sir.
So ordinances get their teeth by the way they're crafted and written. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So whatever we say for the zoning ordinance and the teeth that it has to enforce that will not affect the historic district ordinance.
You're correct, sir.
That ordinance will be written with its own teeth to enforce it in its own way.
Yes, sir.
That way you don't have ordinance that conflict with each other.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir. And specifically, the changes were made to have that the CLG certification for the city.
Right.
The zoning is focused on uses and dimensional standards. Historic preservation ordinances, they range, but they usually function as a type of overlay. So it can give some flexibility for historic structure, but it more focuses on the architectural aspect of the building. And where they vary is how strict they are in terms of what you can and can't do to a building that has been designated historic.
Correct, so
Some are-
you would not have an ordinance, like, say, you have a historical building that's in this zoning district, right? You would not have the, historic ordinance come in and say, if you pass the zoning one, you would not have the historic one come in and say, you have to change the zoning because you're historic. That would be a conflict of the
Conflict,
two, correct? So they are independently, because the zoning ordinance is an ordinance with its own teeth and its own way of doing business, whereas the historic ordinance ordinances can't conflict with each other because they're not compatible with each other. And then every time you had an issue with this one conflicting with this one, you'd have to take it to court to fix it. So they're designed to not conflict with each other.
And they regulate different things. Now, the Central Business District does have some architectural standards, so does the CRA. A historic preservation ordinance would likely be the strictest in terms of architectural standards. That's usually what they're focused on. So the zoning is not focused on so much on the specific features of, window dressings, that sort of thing. That's not a focus of the zoning. But for historic preservation ordinance, it might be, depending on how detailed it is. And they really range. Some are extremely detailed, which if you were to go that direction, we would probably recommend that you get a planner that specializes in historic preservation because it's a little different. It's very architecture based versus the zoning, which is more uses. So what you're looking at tonight is not really, how are we preserving our historic buildings in that sense. It's how do we make it easier for people to come in if they want to open a business in one of our existing buildings in our existing downtown? How do we remove a barrier? And what uses do we want to allow there? The barrier now is that the setbacks and everything that we require fit suburban development, yes, it is historic development, but in the sense that the zoning is looking at it is how do we remove a barrier where they'd have to come in and get a bunch of variances for something that's been here
Right.
and that we want to stay here. So they do interact, but they're focused on different things.
Well, and this new ordinance may restrict historical business.
So a use that is existing, for example, I know auto service has come up a number of times. So for a use that's existing, they are allowed to continue. Now, what they would have to consider is if they adopt the new zoning and their use is non-conforming, they can't expand it without going through some sort of
What if
additional
the property is sold?
If the property is sold, as long as it doesn't sit vacant for 6 months or more, they can continue the use. So until the use is ended effectively, right?
Okay.
6 months or more, it's abandoned. Once it's abandoned, then it has to be brought into compliance. But as long as that use continues, they just continue.
And
The
abandonment
zoning
is only
is
6 months,
It's forward-looking.
correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's nothing in today's. Around here, there's a lot of empty buildings.
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm Frank Murray, 505 North Lake Street. I don't want to rehash what y'all just said, but I am concerned that if zoning is completed before ordinances for historic preservation, that we do run the risk that things might be changed or altered before any other ordinances are in place to prevent that. I would just throw that out there. One of my reasons for wanting to come up here is actually for the things that are the types of businesses that are prevented from being in the area. Now, as you can see, I'm not a tattoo person. However, I see nothing wrong with a tattoo parlor on Main Street. It draws a lot of people. There's a couple other things too. In today's, and especially because we do have an area that is in need, I think, of a nice pawn shop, because sometimes people need short cash loans and the only thing they have are possessions to take in. And some don't have transportation to go all the way to Palatka or someplace like that. It also offers much, for lack of a better word, cheaper products for people to buy used. So there are several things I think that need to be considered on things that might be prevented in the zoning that are actually important to this community. And some of these items, just like with the pawn shop, they can draw a crowd of people in. They'll come to the area just because of that. And I think that is one of the goals of most citizens in this city is to bring more people and more commerce into the city so that we can all maybe even defer a little bit of the taxes that we pay and be helpful to maintain a strong business district as well. So thank you very much for hearing me.
Thank you.
So and thank you, sir, I appreciate that. That just means that those are not available in this district here, doesn't mean they're not available in Crescent City.
Correct.
So a few blocks down the road, they would be available.
Correct.
Those services would be available. Okay.
Madam Chair.
Okay, so Dan's concern is, and I'm kind of worried about that too. So how do we make sure that the two align with one another, that they support one another? We don't wanna tell, one area, how do we prevent, I go through one process and it's okay, but then I get to the other side and then I'm told no. So how do we prevent that, from happening? So that's my concern as well, to tell somebody, yeah, I get excited, and then, bam, the historical, they shut me down, and so how do we work both of them together so everybody will be happy?
And to add to that, why wouldn't? I mean, why not?
And again, I'll go back to Mr. Corrett's comments, they're wholly separate items, and correct me if I'm wrong, one is about characteristics, the other one is about uses. They will coincide with each other, and I thank you and for the comment as well, just so I can put myself out there, those are the two exact items that I wanted to change. I just haven't had that meeting with Mark and how we would address that, because I wanted to put something together, more of a formatted memo in that sense. I think both of those businesses here in the city would work out very well for us. So those were the two only changes that I had. Other than that, everything else is fine. The other part about it is that, and Mr. Dan, Mr. Dodge, I meant to answer this question for you earlier. The reason I brought it to the commission was a financial portion of it. I can't spend more than X amount of dollars without getting approval. And when we had the discussions of where the LTC was.
Derek, excuse me, let me explain.
Yes,
I have no problem you bringing it to the commission.
yes, sir.
My concern was that we haven't been updated at all.
Okay.
Even if it's a preliminary, just keep us informed. We sit here as a body wondering what's going on
I understand.
without an update, that's all. It's
I
just
understand.
a common courtesy.
And we can have a discussion. I don't want to put something out in the public that's not correct, and someone can interpret something wrong if we put something incorrect out there. But I can share it here.
Share it without.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the update,
And you can say it's preliminary,
yes, sir.
sure.
And the update, the reason I went to the commission was because of the discussions with Mr. Corrett, that he does believe that we're at the level that we would need to hire an entity that specializes in that field for the historic preservation. And so we talked to the commission about what that cost would be, threw around some numbers, but I believe that Mr. Corrett was going to price that out. We were gonna price it within his contract currently. Our fiscal year ends here in September, so I'm looking at making sure I have it in my budget for him. He's gonna get back with me. That is the process, that's where we're at right now, just to make sure that we are covering all bases and that it's right the first time. It's a really big deal.
So getting, moving forward, I do have some recommendations and thoughts that I would like to put forward on some of the items that are currently in use that would not be allowed in the future. So again, as I've always stated, I don't see the rush. I would just request that we move this on to another meeting and that come back with the recommendations to it. And we invite the public, and if need be, do another workshop. The workshop was very productive. And I suggest that we well advertise it. Again, why not? We've got plenty of time. There's no rush to do this.
So what do you recommend? How do you recommend that we move?
I recommend we continue this to our next meeting or a future workshop.
That's one recommendation, from board member. My recommendation is if we have the items that we want to change now, that we have a vote on those items, we give them to, our planning, director and allow them to make those changes to it. We can make those changes now and approve what has already been done, and still come back to another meeting with additional changes or have another workshop and a final before we bring this to the commission. I mean, this is 100% up to this body.
I understand what you're saying, because the changes that they're going to want to make to it now are the changes that we asked them to make.
Correct.
So I think we should probably make those changes since we asked them to make those changes. I mean, does that sound reasonable? I'm not sure that.
Yeah, since we asked them.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, the ones that they brought up already.
Right.
Oh, sure.
Yes,
Yeah, okay,
yes.
yeah.
So what I'd like to do, Dan, and in the spirit of us being able to come back, and you said you had some changes that you wanted to make.
Correct.
What I'd like to do is make a motion that we make right now the changes as proposed, the ones that we said that we wanted, that we go ahead and make those changes and make them part of the ordinance, make those changes where they should be. And then we can discuss more of coming back and looking at them.
We can set a time for a workshop and specifically talk about the prohibited uses and the permitted uses and bring those recommendations. Like I said, I agree with Frank. Those are the two that I wanted to change over to permitted uses. We have a lot of motorcycle clubs that come through here year round. And we have a large event as well. And they love tattoos. It would be nice to service them while they're here.
If we have the opportunity for a nice 80-room hotel
That'd be great too.
right here
Agreed.
on Central, I mean, why limit it? So those are my points. Let me be honest with you. I was surprised that, after our meeting, that there was the first reading. I assumed that there wouldn't be a first reading until we were done totally. So my concern is, I wouldn't want a second reading done without full approval and support from this committee.
So what I would recommend is, because what I'm looking for direction, because I know that the city commission does not want to act on the rezoning until they have the final version of what the recommended standards are from you all.
Right.
So I think if there are specific uses that you already know you want added back in, I can make those changes, you can directly make those changes, and that gives us something to build on the discussion at our next meeting.
And I'm willing to give you a list now. However, I would like, I would like an opportunity to come back.
So if you direct me
in
tonight to make certain
support of
changes,
Bob's
it would come back to you. It would come back to you. You would review it again. You would have another opportunity to make changes. The public would have another opportunity to make changes. But I think the benefit of that is then we are reviewing an actual ordinance with the changes so that you have something to really discuss. Do you like the version?
We're tweaking
that
it
we're-
for perfection.
Yes. I think if
And that's
if
the
we
luxury
only
of time.
table it and we don't, if we just table it, I think then
Then nothing gets done.
nothing
Yeah,
gets done.
no,
I'm
I-
just bringing you the same version that you
I'll
look at
agree with
tonight.
that.
So
Can this body tonight vote to take tattoo shops and pawn shops off of prohibited uses and transfer to permitted uses?
I'm gonna give you more than that.
Yeah.
There was a lady standing there.
Yes,
who wanted to speak.
ma'am.
Ma'am, did you want to speak? Sorry, we were
Yes.
talking away.
My name is Marge Gadlowski. I've been here before, and I thank you for seeing me again.
Can you
Um,
give your address for the record, please?
Well, right now, I'm still looking in Crescent City for a, piece of property that, I want to buy, but I'm still very uncertain. But, I do want to know, is there a planning and zoning commission? How many people are involved? I mean, is it just that one person that was here in the July meeting?
We are.
This is
it.
You all, oh.
You're a
Yes.
minor.
Oh, sorry. I'm a foreigner here, so I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, so that makes sense then. Okay, great. That was my question. So far, it's been very pleasant, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Would you like my additions?
Let's hear what you got, man.
I'm all ears.
Everything on the left should move to the right.
Let me look at it again.
Well, I will say, we probably have enough automobile parts stores.
Oh, Tom, this one.
I'm not sure we need to move fortune tellers. Over to that.
Come on now. People want a lottery number.
What difference does it make? It just makes it more interesting. Yeah. Outdoor storage, I don't think we need that.
I have to find it again.
I do, Dan, I do like your talk about hotels and motels. Because we always, over the last years, have talked about possibly using the Miller property in the corner here for some kind.
Yeah, no, that's, and indoor theaters, we have this at the school, that 400 seat theater.
Yeah.
And an auditorium, the gym,
Mhm.
laundriettes and laundromats. I don't have a problem with that, particularly if there's, if you could drop it off, they'll do it for you.
Okay.
So I think, well, part of it, before you go too crazy, is that we're looking at apples and oranges. So we got permitted use in GC one, we got permitted use in CBD, and then we have, specifically, what is prohibited in CBD. I think we need to look more at that list.
Where is that?
Actually, that's
Here?
next page.
So the next page, yes.
Where it says adult businesses, auto parts sales.
Oh, so all these are included over here.
So this is what's not, this is what you cannot have right now in the new zone.
But all of these would be included here?
I don't know if all of them would be, what I'm saying is right here, the most stringent list that we have
Let's go over there,
is this one.
as you say. Okay,
So here's the point, is you said outdoor storage, we don't need that, and that's already on the list.
Mr. Donish, if you look at the actual ordinance, it's here, it's a little different than the other one that you have. It's spelled out on prohibited uses, and then on the second page, prohibited uses, the first page says permitted uses. It's a little easier to read than that, than the one that you have in front of you. It'll be the ordinance itself,
are
and
they,
that's what we're voting on.
are they included?
Yes, they should be included.
Right, thank you.
And then there's this is what we're talking about, and that's what I was wanting to strike these off of here and move them to this list.
You don't want to catch it?
No, I'm joking.
Well, so if we start at the top, it says conditional uses, it says bed and breakfast and boutique hotel, so we should add a hotel. This implies that they may not be allowed.
A
Rebecca?
conditional use would come
To us.
to you for additional approval. If it's just permitted, then if it's allowed by right, there's no additional process. If it's a conditional use, they need to get specific approval for that use.
I think you want to keep some of those things, like hotels and whatnot, under conditional use to get conditional approval by this body. Because you want to start talking about size, hotel rooms, how many rooms you can have, architecture, those kinds of things, because you're talking about site plan and a whole different
You could
process.
condition it.
So
Yeah.
should we, let's add hotels.
I would keep it under conditional use, hotel,
Yeah, let's list it, it's not listed.
boutique hotel.
Well, that's, then let's
Strike boutique.
Strike
let's strike
boutique.
boutique, yeah.
So under prohibited uses, we should keep them prohibited adult businesses? Should we keep that prohibited?
Yes.
I'm going down the list and,
Well,
see
let's
that-
just discuss each
We're just
one, and then we
gonna
can just check
discuss each
them off. or
one,
not.
yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Adult businesses, does anybody want that? No, okay. Auto parts sales, right in this, we're talking just this business district that we're talking about, not where they are right now,
And they're already there.
and they're already there.
Yeah.
So, do we want more of them in the central
Auto
business
parts? I don't think, no.
Okay. Auto repair, leasing, and sales. We have one already, right, at the Shepherd's Garage.
We have two in the central business district, correct? We have two currently. And their businesses and everything they do will not be interfered with at all with the provisions in this.
Okay.
So it's just new business.
So if he closed down, nobody else can open one
If
there?
he closes down and within 6 months, somebody else took over, and they didn't change the footprint, they can keep the
Keep
same.
on, okay.
Well, what if he
business.
had to vacate where they're renting and relocate?
Well, it's not permitted already right now.
Right.
Right.
Oh,
Even today, right now, it's not permitted in this area, GC1.
Right,
Correct.
it's kind of an odd.
Right.
Well, I
There was
think one of them
permission
is
given-
kind of an,
Right,
a unique situation.
yeah, and they were given permission by previous city manager.
Now, remember what we could do too, is we could move these prohibited uses, we don't have to give them right to have them, we can move them under conditional uses where
Could
we
definitely
would,
do that.
where we would look at each one of those businesses individually to see if it's appropriate or not.
Um,
That's,
then I recommend we take auto repair and move it up under conditional use.
Okay.
For instance, if there is a business that wants to restore beautiful antique cars, why not?
See, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Big box, no.
Do we want Sam's Club? Oh, okay.
Convenience stores.
Community stores, I don't think we have plenty of districts for convenience stores. Drive-through, I don't.
Now- Let's talk about the drive-through.
yeah,
There are some micro businesses like coffee shops and smoothie shops that have small drive-throughs. I'm not sure what they're doing with this property next door at One Summit, is it two Summit? They could redesign the parking lot to have a small drive-through
The
I
one
think-
across the street.
right here. I think we put it under conditional,
Conditional,
so it can come back to us to see what the design is. Of course, we don't want, a fast food restaurant with a drive-through right here in the middle of town, but
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question, what is the difference between, I mean, I understand what the difference is, but ordinance wise, what is the difference between a drive-through and a walk-up window?
that's something that would have to be spelled out.
Because if you have an ice cream joint,
Correct,
then you might wanna have a walk-up window
correct.
that you can get ice cream to the window, right?
Right.
You know, but it's not a drive-through. So I would say, I would put in that drive-through / walk-up window and move it to conditional use.
Agreed.
What do you guys think about that?
mhm,
Sounds good.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Fast food restaurants,
I don't see the need for that.
flea markets take up a lot of space. Now, but how about this? How about is there difference between, cause we have the, farmer's market. That says farmer's market in here already. is permitted
Yes.
use.
And those are temporary. Those are up and.
That's more of a temporary permitted thing, right? Okay.
So what should we do with flea markets? Should we move it up to conditional or?
I wouldn't put a flea market out. That's a permanent, long-standing, think of it this way.
So if somebody
flea
wants
market-
to have
Go, yeah, if you
Go on
see-
a
set-
flea market
yeah.
one day, a weekend.
They can get a
that's
special
different.
That's
permit,
different,
okay.
you get a permit.
Yeah, this type of flea market would be, you see them, there's one in New Smyrna, it's like, a bunch of tables basically that stay set up that way,
You don't know, need to explain.
okay, yeah.
We understand.
Let's back up, I'm just saying, we never know, and I can, understand, that's fast food restaurants.
Mhm.
I think that, cause I'm thinking about where the old Pick and Save used to be,
Yes,
on,
ma'am.
on the corner there. If somebody, is sitting there, they was to sell it, and somebody wanted to be, it would be a nice spot for that. but remember that it has to be approved.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
Are you
if we
saying?
have it there under, conditional use,
Mhm.
you know, we can decide after it is presented, or whoever's on this board,
Mhm.
to say, no, that's not something.
Remember this, that the area that we're talking about is very limited to this central core of the city.
Mhm.
So it wouldn't necessarily be that's out there, that's outside of what we're talking about. To build a, Whataburgers, Burger Kings, not here.
Mhm.
You would want the small restaurateurs to come in and get those spaces and build restaurants that people can park, walk up to, eat, hang out, walk, shop. And so that's what was the vision of the previous manager, which I don't disagree with
Mhm.
on that. And that's why this is prohibited in this sense.
Okay,
I want a Chick-fil-A down here too, I just don't want it right here. Yeah.
yes. I was just saying that that I would rather say no than, it come back and not at least put it up under conditional use.
Conditional wouldn't stop you because then you could hear anything that comes in front of you.
Mhm.
I mean, it would just keep the door open. I know there was a little coffee shop that's called Elios. There's very small footprint. They usually go in real small areas, they have a little drive-through and it's considered fast food. They have little bites and they have the coffee. It would be really cute in our city, something like that. But a business like to that, you would be able to come in and see what those plans are if you put it under conditional use. So in that case, I don't see the problem with that.
Really, Dan?
Well, I think there's plenty of room outside the 42 acres that we're talking about for fast food. Quite frankly, what I call the village here, I'd much rather have a diner or a family restaurant or a quality restaurant.
Sure.
I think it's
What
more
do you think?
fitting.
I'm hearing all this, but I think you're just making things a lot complicated than they need to be. Like fast food restaurants, for example. If you've watched any news, you can see that many fast food restaurants are going under because they can't be supported. You go to McDonald's, you're paying $18 for a drink and a fry and a hamburger. People in this town can't afford $18 for a hamburger. So it's almost mute to be talking about fast food restaurants here in the village.
Okay.
And
I would like to see mom and pop restaurants here,
Mhm.
okay, make it more homey.
Mhm.
But to be arguing over fast food restaurants, it's new.
Okay.
They're a dying breed.
You can do it for what they want. We got more money here than people won't produce it. But, I would just, something just to think about, I know what we are working towards, but in certain spot like me, even if a nice Walgreens or CVS, they're on that corner, I've seen them and they're nice, just walk off they have parking in the back and just walk off the street and the door right there and they look really nice and like if the, architect of the building is nice, it just looks real nice. It looks real nice.
What's our definition in there for fast food? I mean, you brought up a great point about a sandwich shop or a quick eat, like, grab and go sub shop. I mean, what's the language in there for fast food? Are we talking about Burger Kings or are we talking about small mom and pops in and outs? That's something I would like some clarity on.
Yeah, I don't have the definition in front of me, if we have one in the code, so that's something I'll bring
Okay,
at our next meeting.
I can bring that back, is that okay?
Yeah.
Everybody on this?
If there is, we have one.
And I wasn't really talking about,
Yeah,
I love
because I think
Chick-fil-A, but
everybody has a great point here.
Yeah.
We want the walk-up restaurants, but again, definition-wise, I'd like to know what their definition is on
Go
that.
to that chicken place across the street.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
are standing in line for that chicken.
Right, right.
Well, that's different than fast food.
Sure, but if he created a
If you
small.
look at the ingredients list, you wouldn't be scared. It might be healthy.
Well, can we look at it this way so that we can kind of continue on in the sense that if we see the fast food definition as being conducive to mom and pop type businesses, can we move that under conditional use? And if it's just Burger King, can we look at saying that no to that? Does that make sense?
Cause I mean, I really wasn't thinking Burger King or
Yeah.
McDonald's, I wasn't there, but, you know, just there are other type of restaurants that,
Right.
and it does fall up under the mom and pop, you know,
That's what,
nice
that's
fish
what,
fry,
I think we
hot
ought to say
chicken all
no
day.
franchise restaurants in this area.
There you go.
Yes,
Okay,
that's-
that's
that's-
perfect.
thank
That's
you,
perfect.
thank you, yes,
Thank you, Brad.
yes.
Great.
That covers it all.
Yeah, good, I like that.
Oh, you woke up with something good.
All right, flea markets, we said
So
no.
prohibited uses, we'll put franchise restaurants.
That was great, thank you.
Flea markets, we said no to, right?
Correct,
Outdoor storage, we're saying no to.
correct.
Pawn shops, we're saying yes.
Why not?
I agree.
You guys think?
What was?
I'm all for it.
Cause I was
Pawn
like,
shops,
Would
Pawn
that be a by right
you wanna do it by right or conditionally?
Conditionally.
condition?
Yeah, I agree.
Like that.
Okay.
Smoking vape shops?
Can we back up a bit?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole idea about tattoo parlors and pawn shops is the subliminal thought that they breed unsavory characters. Is that true? Is that what the opposition would be to a pawn shop, that, you know, people are coming in with possibly stolen goods, pawning them?
I think with the,
I mean,
you know, 20 years ago, the TV shows came on with pawn shops and so it changed that image.
there's a social image that goes along with that.
Sure,
So
yeah.
is that what you're oppositional to?
Same with the tattoo parlors and.
I have no opposition.
well, I mean, they are a lot stricter than back when,
Yes.
you know,
State law.
they are.
Yeah, state law.
It's like a class 1 medical facility. To be a tattoo parlor, you have to go through the state health department, all of that.
Yeah, I'm talking about the,
Pawn
I'm
shops is
talking about the
the
pawn
same.
shop, you know, they,
Regulation.
Yeah,
yeah, they are a lot more aware of when people are bringing them items like that than
I
they
can
were.
shop it in a pawn shop.
Oh, I would too.
Yeah.
do you wanna do it conditionally or are you thinking, think conditionally?
For the pawn shop?
I think
Yeah.
pretty much you ought to make the whole list conditionally, and we can look at them one by one, because we're only talking about a few acres here. And
Bless you.
we do want to be selective of what we bring in.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that, except for industrial uses.
Step one.
Industrial uses, second to the last one.
The
Well, I
only thing I'm
believe we
thinking
have
about-
an industrial park someplace in the
Oh,
back.
The only thing I'm thinking about that is like, up north, I will tell you that I think industrial use is glass blowing.
It's what?
Glass blowing, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I would keep that as a conditional use in case there was somebody who wanted a business that manufactured something that was small.
Yeah, I agree with
That
that.
was small. So, like glass blowing.
Glassworks in Jacksonville is doing phenomenal, and it is in an industrial area.
Mhm.
The only thing is, again, permitted and uses, and this will go back to planning. If someone wanted to put something like that down here, it's probably gonna be stopped because of the regulations needed for the fire suppression,
Yeah,
the type of
furnace and
business.
stuff like that. I just use it as
Industrial
an
use,
example off the
yeah,
top of my
yeah,
head,
yeah.
so.
But it is a great concept, I've been to the classes in Jacksonville, they're great.
Mhm. So,
On the tobacco, talking about shop selling 50% or more of smoke-related products, I think this goes in line, fine tobacco, there's a really big market out there for fine tobacco and cigars. We don't have that here, I don't think it should be shut down either. in our area.
Well, I kind of like your idea,
Yeah, let's go with Brad's idea.
Except for the adult businesses.
except for the adult business, we
Yeah.
can scratch
Just
that.
wanna make it clear.
Yeah, we can scratch that.
Okay, good.
Yeah, what if people lounge or something like that?
So everything going up on the conditional use,
next one, start from the beginning
Yeah,
of that.
speak up sooner.
except the one that's
Right,
gonna make it all
yes,
funny.
we're making it complicated. We'll listen to you.
Okay.
Okay, so does that include, a gas station with 8 or more fuel pumps and convenience stores? Do those go to conditional uses as well?
I'd say the whole list,
Yeah.
except for the adult.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, we're such a small village.
Mhm.
We don't need a big truck stop in the middle of our
No,
No,
village here.
no, we got plenty of land on the outskirts.
And that's things that have been worked on and being worked on continuously behind the scenes that for the out parcels on the outside of town for larger gas stations.
And I remember asking you about an industrial park. Do we actually have,
We do have some industrial property on the north end of town,
North
northwest.
and west?
Yeah, northwest end of town.
and what is that, no industrial?
It is.
It's a light industrial.
Yes, yes, sir.
Because that's where all your tire stores and all that other stuff need to go.
Yeah, heavy manufacturing.
Heavy manufacturing, yeah. 100%.
and on this, hours.
I actually like that idea. That works perfect because that allows flexibility.
Yeah.
Oh, very-
Yeah,
I agree.
and I think that's been the biggest hurdle or the issue with some of the people that are concerned that this will be constricting us, and that's been my concern as well. It's like, okay, well, how do we be more inclusive? Because we want to properly and sustainably grow, and have some sort of control over that. So, I agree. I think that my recommendation would be that. That was great.
Yeah,
Thank you
absolutely.
very much.
And this kind of
You lighten the load,
touches
sir.
on what you said, Dan, when you start talking about cracking what happens here.
Yes,
And that's what we're doing there in those instances, cracking what happens.
exactly. It makes
So
it more,
that covers a little bit of what you were talking about.
it does, thank you.
Can I make a motion? Just, all right, get it done?
Yeah.
All right. I make a motion that we accept the three changes that were presented. Sorry, yes, ma'am.
I was trying to wait till you got through. the-
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
okay, come on, Ms. Allen.
I was here at the last meeting and I remember it a little differently. The part where it says allowance of ground floor residential use. I remember we talked about the ground floor residential use, but I didn't think it was just to the rear of the building. Do you remember, was it just to the rear of the building?
Yeah, because originally it was going to be second floor only, then it was first floor, the rear of the building. I had also made a suggestion that they could even say a percentage if they wanted.
But,
Because we didn't want it in the front.
Right.
You don't want it in the front of the building on the first floor, you want it in the rear.
well, I have a building that has dual use and mine's in the front.
Right, but you're already existing.
Yeah, but if I sell my building, does the person purchasing it then, are they allowed to keep the residential and the commercial because it's in the front?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Unless it's
Grandpa.
vacant for 6 months,
I beg your pardon?
unless it's vacant for 6 months.
I see. Okay.
I think that's an important issue.
Sure.
And I think that's one we should. I mean, because more and more, you've got people with small businesses, they want to live in.
Ma'am, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
you still have that option to opt out. If you don't want to be part of the new business district, you have that option, correct?
Yes.
Well, she has-
Up to the point that it's done.
Now, GC1 does not allow residential at all.
Right.
But when you sell it, it's about reverts back.
The problem is originally, people were told they could have dual zoning.
Okay, why don't you say something, because you're definitely affected by it.
Yes.
Come on up.
So let me pull up, some people do have split zoning. Let me pull up our current zoning map here. Okay, so properties like this do have half commercial, half residential zoning. If someone came in and wanted to develop this property, that would potentially be a challenge for them because they have two different zonings with two different standards. There are also tax codes that get applied to properties. So some people might have a commercial, they might have a completely commercial zoning or a completely residential zoning, but they might be getting taxed for multiple uses if they have multiple uses on the property. And if they've historically had multiple uses on the property, that would just continue. Now, where a challenge could come up is if you want to, if, again, it's that 6-month vacancy. If the property sits for 6 months, then it would have to meet the requirements of whatever zoning it has. Whether that's the zoning that you keep, that you currently have, or whether you take on the new zoning. That would apply either way.
Right. So if it's either abandoned or if there's a change of use.
Yes.
Well, now's the opportunity to change it the way we want it. I would try.
Okay. Rachel McKenzie, 25 South Lake Street. So we bought 2 properties in this town, and both times we were told that they had dual zoning, that we were residential at the county and we were commercial in the city, so we could do whatever we wanted on our properties. And then I talked to Mr. Red, and he told me there was no such thing. And if you talk to people in this town, a lot of people were told that, and a lot of people have properties that they would tell you are dual zoned, but they're not. And so someone like Miss Alice, she lives in the property. The flower shop is there, her kitchen shop is there. But the problem is, just like the problem with us, we opted out. I had conversations with Derek. It's not about the fact that we can live there and it's our house. It's the fact that if we died tomorrow and our kids come in, they can't sell it as a residence. It has to be sold as commercial, and there is nothing commercial about it. There is no parking close to my house. It's not commercial, it is a residence. But you've gotten rid of 90-some% of my buyers because it can only be sold commercial.
So how do we,
We didn't, first of all, we didn't do that.
No. This has been something that has been done decades ago.
Right.
We are working on this, right now. We've had discussions about this.
Yes.
There are some other, residents that have a similar issue. Mark Rett and I talked about gathering them. We might have a workshop, but trying to find a solution to
Bring it to us.
reset it and bring it back to y'all to say, this is what's the right thing to do. Because she does live in a beautiful home on the lake that is not a commercial property and not being used for commercial use.
And shouldn't be a commercial.
Right.
And so I guess what I'm saying is that I know, like Miss Alice and the guy that has the antique car restoration place, you know, those are 2 ongoing profitable businesses that, you know, he wants to add on to the car restoration place. And he's like, so what do I have to do? Do I have to leave town? I don't think we want to lose businesses. I don't want to see Alice have to sell hers because she can't do.
I don't picture those scenarios. I don't picture anybody having to sell anything, and I don't
Right.
picture
Well, if you can't
the
have-
car guy being able to expand his business. I don't picture those scenarios.
Yeah, the add-on portion we've discussed with is footprint. Right now, that type of business is not allowed under even the GC1. And so there was a previous city manager that gave permission via letter that would allow him to be there. He's grandfathered in, he can do what he wants to do business-wise. But the second you touch the footprint of it, and under the CB1 or if it stays GC1, that's where the problem, you run into the problem.
well, can't we change that?
However, we just changed it, because we just put it under conditional use.
So it would come to you
So
all
it
for,
would come to us to review and allow us to that business to be there which in turn would allow him to do what he wants to do on the property.
So that deals with auto restoration,
Yes.
but it doesn't deal with original.
Well, so
No,
like
no.
with me, okay, our house is a huge asset to us.
Absolutely.
And if you have a business here in town, it's a huge asset to you. And, you know, I don't like losing possibilities. If we can't switch to residential, then,
I think that this board is, first of all, of course, we all live here,
right.
right? So we're here for a reason, right? We like it here, we love it here.
I love it here.
And part of what our job is to do what we're trying to do now, which is help expand business, help people that are having problems with decisions that have been made in the past, if you will.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think that's kind of part of our job, and I think when you're talking about getting those businesses or those properties together, that's kind of, we're a small community, that's what we should be doing. Right, that's,
I think, I
Exactly.
guess my point is, it's not, well, we have it.
Mhm.
It's what happens when we have to either sell because we can't afford to stay.
right, so that's why we gotta get it fixed.
Exactly.
Now, yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
yes, ma'am, I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%.
And I'm going,
And we're in such a small community, we should be able to do that.
I know you're gonna get tired of me saying this, that's why we should take our time. So all these situations come forward, and we can correct them.
Yeah, and that is
For some of
separate,
these,
but
I think the central business district doesn't fix their situation,
Right.
but opting out doesn't really fix it
Doesn't
either.
fix it.
They need a totally
They
different
need,
solution.
you just need to do
Yeah.
something.
yeah,
So-
and we
Right.
have a solution we're working on with that currently. right
So
now.
you can come back to us with the solutions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
to solve both these
I just think
situations.
that sometimes we have to also look at the history.
Yeah.
Because
Not half a dozen.
when you're not
But Alice's, we
being
could
told your
change.
jewels owned,
I mean, here's a 50% of the frontage is a residential.
That's a fair
There's I believe so, and there's a cost associated, that's what we've talked about, doing it all in one time, so we can,
Okay.
yeah, because typically if someone wants to go in and change their zoning to PUD, it's gonna cost $1,500, $2,000. Anybody wants to change their zoning, this is about the cost, so if I can say, hey, these were decided on 2 decades ago, 3 decades ago, city made a mistake, or planners made a mistake, who knows, whatever happened, happened.
Something happens.
Something happened, doesn't conform to today, they don't have a business that's in there, it's a residential home on the lake, it doesn't need to be general commercial, what can we do? Well, I don't wanna just take one individual, even though I do wanna help out every individual, but I wanna take as many as I can at one time. So we can bring it to this board all at one time
Right.
and be done with it and make it right.
And allows us to make it cheaper for them.
Correct.
And
So what time frame would you do? 2 months? We could put
Rachel
the
wants it
word
done
out.
like 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago. No, we're working on it. Margaret and I have discussed a timeframe, but we need a couple of months to put the people together, make sure that we are capturing what the needs are.
So should we put the word out?
We're-
People come forward?
We're going to, I know the individuals that have the problems right now, and so I was
There may be
gonna
more.
reach out to them directly.
maybe.
There could be more.
Yeah, there may be more, yeah.
I would say that a lot of people that opted out, we got thrown into GC1. And I would think that some of them probably did too. And that they would rather be residential.
It only makes sense if that's the use and that's what it's been
That's right.
traditionally, right?
That's
It
correct.
only makes sense.
And that's what it will be in the future, best use.
Which also applies for your, I can't see it.
Alice, do you?
Yes,
Ms. Alice?
so, Ms. Alice, so that would apply to you as well. So I think getting with the city and determining what would be the best zoning for your property and to keep it so that it meets zoning criteria, so you don't have to have a special condition or anything crazy like that. And then we can add that to the list of these other properties to look at as well. So I think that solves your problem as well. And I think this board's willing to do that, and I think the city manager's willing to do that, so
Okay.
what do you think? All right.
Okay.
I just want to say one thing. Because I've been to all these, the workshop and all the stuff that went on at that workshop. Personally, my goal, sitting on the board here, is to protect our citizens, okay?
That's right.
And that's why I'd like to see everything put on, what's it, contingent.
Conditionally,
Mhm.
And that way we can handle each person who has a mixed conglomerate of zoning and everything personally and take care of your needs. I mean, there's not that many on you. I'll be here at least another 10 years. And I don't mind taking care of each of those separately, okay? But on the same hand, what we're trying to do is we're trying to create something here with the, to protect us against the onslaught of Palm Coast moving this way. St. Augustine moving in, Hastings is now what, West St. Augustine?
I think it's East Black's now West San Jose.
Yeah, and it's all moving this way, and when Bass World finally opens, now we'll have another army to the north of us moving this way. And we need to get something down to protect ourselves when that comes, because we don't want all of that on a contingency list. We'd like to have some rules and regulations to protect us, so that's what's really going on, but I don't mind taking care of each and everyone's personal conundrum that has occurred.
Especially if it's something the city caused.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
So,
So I just want to say that.
I agree.
You had a motion on,
Yeah.
Oh,
it was-
okay.
I was-
So I'll just do the motion again, if you guys are okay with that.
Uh-huh.
So what, I'm gonna make a motion and we take the three, strike the previous motion. Okay. I'm gonna make a new motion that, takes the presentation that was given us today, the changes that we wanted for at the last meeting, or whichever meeting it was, that we bring put those into the ordinance, to be presented to the council, and that we take the prohibited uses in the central business district that we're talking about, that we move all of those except for, in ordinance number 2026-14, that we take all the prohibited uses except for adult businesses and move them into conditional use as would be looked at by this board for each one of those separate cases.
I'll second that.
It has been properly motioned and second that we accept the presentation that has been presented to us today, the suggestion the board previously made, and all prohibited uses except adult businesses be moved to conditional use. So, we get a roll call to vote,
Yes, ma'am.
okay?
Board Member Brad Green,
Aye.
Board Member Dave Dodge,
Aye.
Board Member Robert Sharon,
Aye.
and Chairwoman Veronica Glover.
Aye.
So approved.
All righty. We're looking at the commission tonight. All right, B, Historic Miller School Property, 101 South Prospect Street. Discussion regarding the significance of the historic Miller School property, its strategic location within the CRA, and the importance of maintaining its public building and grounds future land use designation. Okay, there was some, I don't know what the
I'll speak to that if I may.
suggestion. Okay.
So I just, as we finish our discussion of our village, I just wanted to point out the importance of the Miller School and the buildings that are there, especially not only their historical importance, the emotional historical attachment to many of our citizens who interacted there. You know, it's a wonderful facility. If you've been through it even recently, if there's a hurricane, I would go there. It is a remarkable structure, and safety-wise. But when you think that it has a 400-room theater, that is something that should be retained and restored. Who else is gonna build that facility in our building, in our community? The same with the gymnasium. It's a wonderful historical structure, and it has many possible uses. The administration building is architecturally attractive and has many possibilities. The cafeteria that sits overlooking the shores of Crescent Lake and the park there, the boat ramp, that has great possibilities. I've always thought that it would make a great rooftop restaurant. And it is such that you can, redesign it where the dining is in back overlooking the lake, et cetera. So I just wanted to point out the importance and our responsibility in keeping the profile of our village, how important the Miller School is, and what a huge benefit it can be in the future for us. So we will seek to see what we can be done with it. Thank you.
Do we ever have a discussion with the school district? Did we ever get to that point? Because I know everybody was talking about keeping the building, but there was no dialogue between the district and the people on this end. So did we ever have those conversations?
Well, the city commission decided that they didn't want to be involved, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So that distanced us from the process. But the Historical Society has made some inroads to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I'll be reporting back at the proper time.
Okay, so somebody
Thank you for
has
bringing it up.
had a conversation with,
How's the moving March?
this, we're working.
Where are we next?
So did you have any input, Derek, on property
Or Newman Lodge or any of those?
No,
I heard that.
historical Miller School, which is on the agenda?
So what happened, what happened was that, I believe it was the feeling from the entire commission that they would love nothing more than to do something with the school. They know the significance. It comes down to money. It comes down to maintenance. It comes down to deferred maintenance. And those decisions were made with that in mind, that the city did not have it in the budget to maintain or have a deferred maintenance program. It was gonna cost hundreds of thousands of dollars every year.
That's quite an overstatement, if I may add, but you'll notice there's a difference of opinion.
It's about $1 to $1.50 a square foot, and that's industry standard, and we have that in the report. With that being said, they felt that at the time it would be best for the Blue Ribbon Committee, correct, BRC, to have 2.0 which would continue the conversation and try to work with outside entities, outside of government, private entities to get involved with that program and with that. And with that being said, I've gone over there, I think it's a beautiful school, I brought it up several times that we should be reaching out to Hollywood. It is the best grounds to make movies, they can put money in it, restore it. It is the best set for several different programs. I'm not sure why we haven't done that yet.
Our villages.
Yeah, I mean, it's great, the place is beautiful, but it's expensive to maintain that. You know, we struggle with
I
it.
would not get into that definition, because you and I are gonna have a different opinion, and there's no need to go there.
I understand,
The fact of the matter is that the city commission decided that it was not the time
correct,
and to move on to other
Correct.
things. And as you stated, they suggested that the Blue Ribbon Committee reorganize itself
correct.
outside of the city, and we did under the Preservation Society. And we are now the Blue Ribbon Committee 2.
Okay, as far as New Moon Lodge, I'd love to give you an update. That project has been complete from the standpoint of the grant program for $50,000 small match. That has actually been completed. We have schematics and plans now for the New Moon Lodge. We recently, due to the hard work of our assistant city manager, obtained a $300,000 grant through the Rural Business Development, so our BDG. And so that is going to be focusing on the parking lot right by the New Moon Lodge. And we do have new operators in the area, business owners that we're gonna be working with in conjunction for their easement to try to extend that parking lot for parking. But we have full schematics, plans, MEPs, everything ready to go to bid. I believe I'm gonna be bringing that to the commission here soon in order to put out an RFP for bidders, so we know exactly what we're dealing with. We have an idea of how much it's gonna cost to restore that building, but we need live bids in order to get the number. I know we can go after historical grants or other type of appropriations for that building. The biggest thing I think that we need is the narrative on what we're gonna use it for once we get it completed. That's the most important key. I think that's a key component in getting a grant for that building.
The early estimate was what, $1 million to restore?
That was $1 million, $1.5 million, something like that, somewhere in that.
What's the square foot?
Off the top-
300,000?
Yeah, off the top of my head, I
That's
don't
not
remember.
bad.
It's not, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the update I have for that,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you for your hard work on that.
Oh, thank you.
Getting that
Yeah,
grant.
that's gonna be
Yeah,
great. I'm
absolutely.
excited about it.
That's gonna be awesome.
Our next is other items, any staff comments? B, public comments? Board member comments?
Oh, there we go, thanks. So let's recap where we're going forward. We're going to, Derek, are you gonna plan for a workshop?
I was gonna ask you all, sure, yes, absolutely, love to get some dates. I will tell you that, we are heavy in budget season. I have a lot of things going on within the end of this month and moving into September as we close out our fiscal year.
As I always say, take your time.
We could possibly do something, I'd have to look at the calendar with the clerk, but I'm thinking October, sometime in October at least.
Okay,
September's probably pretty booked up.
so I just want to share with you that, Rebecca, that I'll come back with some input on design, some comments, the
For the-
suggested changes.
For the central business district standards?
Yes, yeah, like colors, for instance. And other things, so, I'll prepare that for our next meeting.
Now, for some of these, like the building across the street that we're having painted, we've already had some colors in mind, so they're fixing to get theirs painted here soon.
Who approved the colors?
It'll get approved through zoning and planning zoning. So the colors right now have already got a color scheme.
That's commercial property, right? So that's covered under land development code at the moment.
I believe so.
Yeah,
It's
the
covered under-
CRA design standard.
Right, Sierra Design Standards, and that was brought to the commission, and the color palette was given to the commission, and they approved the range, or two colors.
Well, Mark and Rebecca will approve ultimately the range
Finalize.
of colors, yeah, that are for different styles of buildings.
Okay. But I'm saying specific for that building, she's starting here soon.
And I don't know that she's actually submitted the actual colors that she's gonna pick yet, but I know she was in the process of it.
So in the future, under this ordinance, 2026-14, who will be the judge of picking colors, approving colors?
I believe you all will make recommendation, and it'll still go to the commission for final approval.
Okay.
Is that correct?
For
For colors,
the CRA or for the central business?
central business district, not the CRA.
So for earth tones, I mean, that would still come to you during a site plan review. Obviously, an earth tone, if someone comes with some kind of like neon color, that wouldn't fall under that.
Well, you
Um,
mean earth tones, you mean colors.
Yes,
In
yeah, that's
general,
that's
yeah.
the way it's written now.
Right, yes, that's what I'll be addressing.
And then the CRA has stricter color standards.
And I can send you the recommendations that Mark had sent to me.
And the way
That would
the
be
CRA describes them more in terms of styles. So, you know, when you go to Lowe's and they have like different sets of colors that go with
Oh,
different.
sure, yeah.
That's really how that would be reviewed.
Okay, thank you.
Confirm future meeting dates and deadlines for agenda item submission. On here, it said other items, D, confirm future meeting dates and deadlines for agenda item submission.
Yes, so, Madam Clerk, if you will, for that line item, why we put that in?
Basically, we're still going with our standard, meeting date, just wanted to make sure that you guys are okay with that for September. I know we didn't need any deviations to reflect for that, and then also wanting to do, agenda submission deadline 7 days before the meeting date.
7 days before the meeting
Make sure
date.
that you guys provide that to the city manager, copy me just in case he's unavailable, so that gives us time to address it, flush everything out, gather any documentation, and make sure that it's ready before.
Because honestly, we only have two options unless I'm bringing something, and I'll call you all on an individual basis, unless I'm bringing something and we don't get any feedback, we would two options, either cancel the meeting or we have just old business, and I don't think you all want to continue regurgitating old business. So that is the effort here, is in order to make sure that you all understand 7 days ahead of time is our deadline, that we advertise, and we want to get all the information we can to put a good agenda together for you all.
So next month we'll put a.
So we have one item already. Central Business District.
Yes.
That
Okay,
puts next session at, the third Thursday, which would be the 17th.
Yes.
Okay.
so it's our usual time, right? In
Yes.
May?
Correct.
Yeah.
And the submission deadline would be that prior,
7 days prior.
correct,
Yeah, calendar days, right?
correct.
Yeah.
The 10th.
Okay.
All right, if there's nothing else, at this time, the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for August 20th, 2026 is now adjourned. We are getting ready to start our historical preservation board meeting. Okay. The historical preservation board meeting, August 20, 2026, will now come to order. Roll call, please.
These are the biggest chairs I've ever seen. You can't move them.
I think they sing on the floor.
Word, I don't think it is.
Okay, board member Robert Shea,
Here.
That's what we
board
do
member
these
Dan
for.
Raj,
Here.
board member Brad Green.
Here.
Board member Alice McCoy,
Here,
and Chairwoman Veronica Glover.
Here.
Frank Murray.
I'm so sorry. Board
I'm
member
here.
Frank Murray,
I'm
and city manager Derek Martin,
Here,
and assistant city manager, CRA manager Bonnie Loveday, and myself, the city clerk, and we do have a quorum.
At this time, we will have the approval of the June 18th, 2026 minutes. So that everybody have the opportunity to review the historical preservation board meeting minutes for June 18th. Okay. So all in favor of approval of,
I'll move we accept.
okay, I'm sorry.
I would move we accept them.
Okay,
Second.
okay. It has been properly motioned, and second that we approve June 18, 2026 Historic Preservation Board meeting minutes. Okay. All right, number 4, business items. Oh, we gotta
Do
vote.
one
I'm
vote.
sorry. Sorry. I am so sorry. Okay. All right, let's vote.
Yes, ma'am. Board member Brad Green,
What are we doing?
We're voting on the June 18th minutes.
To accept them?
Yes.
Oh, we already did. Okay. Fine. I vote we accept the minutes.
You said aye.
Aye.
board member Alice McCoy,
Aye.
board member Robert Shea,
Aye.
board member Dan Dodge,
Aye.
Chair Veronica Glover.
Aye.
So approved.
You're,
Oh,
That's
I'm
all right.
so sorry.
I'm always out in left field,
It's
so,
out of order, I'm so sorry.
Put you over here.
It's all right.
Board member Frank Murray,
Aye.
sorry, so approved. You took me to switch, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Laughter is good for the soul. Business items. Our first item of business is condemned properties.
so currently, right now, code enforcement's been working on that. I don't have a number for you all. She's been a little bit behind on caseload, but I will bring it to you all. And when I get the number here shortly, I'll just email you all directly.
Oh,
so you
that'd be
have
great.
it, If that's
Thank you.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I have a question on condemned properties. Once we condemn a property, then what?
I believe it's an abatement process, but I'll have to get back with you on that.
I mean, does the city take eminent domain of the property?
I wouldn't call
Do
it
what
eminent
they
domain, I
want?
wouldn't call it eminent domain, but I believe there is some sort of, positioning on the title or deed and something to that effect.
Yeah, but is that something that takes 6 years?
Maybe.
It depends, timeframe, I'm not sure on the timeframe, but I know that it cannot be on any property that has homestead exemption. We've talked about that.
It's a lien, isn't it, that's filed?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I'll get those answers for you all.
okay. All right, New Moon Lodge, that's the same thing that we discussed earlier.
Yes,
Okay, all right,
demolition permits, there were no demolition requests this month as well.
okay. Okay. All right, C, Historical District Report.
The historic district report has been approved, the funds have been allocated, we're awaiting further instructions from the state to move forward, basically at this point.
Okay. right? Architectural and site guidelines,
Ongoing with Mark Corrett and our planning development.
okay. Historic preservation ordinance review,
Again, working with city attorney and possibly hiring a third party that specializes in historic preservation ordinances.
okay. F, discussion with Florida Department of Historical Resources.
I'll actually let Bonnie come up and discuss that if you have,
Yeah, because I was next anyway.
you were next anyway, so if we could do that and she can go into her presentation.
Hi, good evening, everybody.
Morning.
I just, well, what was the first question? Historical resources?
Discussion Florida Department of Historical Resources.
Oh, okay, so the discussion we had with them was because we were restoring the windows across the street for Rick Foles' house. And, so they came in, they gave us a quote, they got approved for a CRA grant, and that was one of the things I was gonna talk about here anyway, is, so the cost of that, of the restoration on his windows was a little over $20,000. Which he was able to do because of the grant, but it's just difficult for a regular person, you know, like just without any additional funding to get that kind of money together. And he's not even getting new windows, he's just getting them restored, that's not even new glass. So that's one of the, and he will qualify for the tax credits, but it's just a hindrance on people, you know, well,
To bear that burden.
to bear that burden, yeah.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Is it all windows or just the second floor?
It was just the second floor.
And the bottom one too.
Are they replacing
Two of
that?
them, yeah, they're restoring.
They're
them.
restoring those
Yes,
two? Okay, good.
I stand corrected.
I believe so, yeah. So anyway, and then, so this other building that's down here on the corner, he's redoing his, I don't know, he still hasn't, he's doing his roof, but, you know, it's just a matter of cost on the matter of some of these preservation projects, just like the new one lodge. I'll be happy to apply for any grants that we can, now that I've done one, maybe I can do some more, so, you know, to get the money for it, but it's, you know, it's a matter of money for that, and it is an eyesore. I was out with Pam today, and she was showing me all the blighted and all these properties that have code enforcement liens on them. So, I see it out there. And also on that, I have a meeting next week with, Eric Sachs, he's with Operation Lifeline, and they redo houses and help people, with their homes, and they don't all have to be veterans. So he's working with the kids at the school and teaching them how to do some work, you know, on houses, you know, to get them to help other people. And it's very helpful. If you ever want to look up the story, it was Mr. Wilbur in St. Johns County. We redid his whole entire house, and the whole community came together, and it was wonderful.
So if somebody has a home and they don't have the funds and it's historical homes, will he help them get funding to restore the home or part of it?
Well, I don't know if he does historical stuff. We redid Mr. Wilbur's house, and he didn't have to tear it down and rebuild the whole thing, but it's not like Austin Historical does, where they charge $20,000. He's relying on donations and, you know, grants and things like that. So I guess depending on the situation.
So it's any home?
Oh, any home, yeah,
Yeah,
any home,
okay.
any home, yeah.
Oh, well, that's wonderful, good.
Any home. So, when was it, a couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to go to Cocoa Beach with the city manager, the vice mayor, and Commissioner DeVito. We went down there for the Preservation on Main Street conference, and I just wanted to tell you a little bit about it, what we learned. Oh yeah, they emphasize that historical buildings serve as anchors for the community identity, civic pride, and long-term economic stability. They couldn't emphasize that more, which is these buildings. And it is true when you think about it, you know, you don't want all new stuff in there. And then they had the mall concept, which when we were just talking about approving different things, so like if you think about Main Street as a mall, the different
the different businesses, if you have, the anchors on either side, say Three Bananas and, People's Bank or whatever you're gonna have at the end of it. And then, in between there, you can have a pawn shop. You don't want 5 pawn shops, you know what I mean? Or, 10 tattoo parlors, if you even it out so that people have a way to stroll down there and kind of spend some time. So that was another thing. It said to encourage intentional business mix experience and identity. So people want to come there and spend some time. I also learned about some grant opportunities for African American cemetery preservation. So I am going to, and actually Pam had taken me down over there to Evergreen Cemetery today, and I saw that. So maybe there's some grant opportunities over there for preservation. And that would be a good one. Also, historical, I talked about that. And then without financial support, owners may avoid improvements or rely on cheaper non-historical fixes, and then we've got so many empty places out here. We want to encourage the people to, to put something there. We don't want to make it harder for them. So that was my historical say on all of that. Do y'all have any questions for me?
No, nice report, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Current status of land development code?
Currently, waiting on Mark Correct to give us a quote or price for a third-party, specialty, contractor or, company that specializes in historic preservation.
Okay. Alrighty, highlights of preservations on Main Street Conference.
That was.
That's what we did.
Okay, so we're,
And if I went as well, if I may, so, what Bonnie said, I'm not gonna repeat, I agree with everything she said, and it was fantastic, very eye-opening. I had some great experiences with the classes that I took. The one thing that I wanna caution our city and our boards and the commission is that we have to walk a fine line where we can protect the assets and the beauty that we have. It's very important. But we also don't want to do it in an overbearing way that costs money for these people that want to come in to invest to too much, that they don't come and invest, because then we'll have a lot of emptiness. So we have to walk a fine line. It's going to be some give and takes. And I think we need to be purposeful in the decisions that we make for special historic entities or buildings that we have. But we need to be careful how much we put on burden on people for historic preservation of their homes, specifically residential, and other things of that nature. But other than that, I thought it was great. I learned a lot. It was really eye-opening from my standpoint. And I appreciate the city giving me and staff opportunity to go and learn.
I think your point is well taken, that we need to be helpful to our residents, not just people moving in.
Right.
That they're not overburdened with the restrictions on trying to repair their homes.
Right.
And it's something that I'm very concerned about.
I think that generally speaking, we should just mainly look for preserving the street side appearance, which is, I think, in the heart, is in the spirit of keeping the look, so to speak. I think it's important that at least the front facade is not necessarily, everything restored perfectly or to the original. I'm from the Mount Vernon area and all up in Virginia, and all those historic districts, and I've worked in a lot of those, and it can be truly mind-boggling how expensive it can be to restore things in the original materials that were done. For example, horsehair plaster, and that sounds ludicrous, but there were a lot of requirements of just that in those areas. And we need to steer away from that. And I think that to keep the charm and the character of the town. It's really the facade that we're looking for. And as long as it can maintain the appearance, to me, that is the most crucial part. You know, everything has to be done, as far as residents are concerned, people have to live in them. So things have to be updated and modernized, and, you know, you can't have a wood-fired stove to cook your food on, you have everything, which I doubt we have that in the city, but, originally that's what they would have had. And so all these things need to be, it has to be a lot of leniency as far as what people do on, especially on the inside of their homes. But the exterior, the facade is very important to everything we're talking about. And we talked about color schemes and such, and there's some very traditional colors that were used in older homes because that was the only pigments that they had to make certain colors with. And I am a coatings specialist, this part of my work history. And so that, those, and I'm just throwing that out there, but I think that so much of it, replacement windows, and just for an example, I got a quote to do my windows in my house with just brand new windows, and it was $45,000. So, it's, if you're gonna get some old windows refurbished or renewed for $25,000, that's such a bad price. It's, everything has to be put into perspective. But that all important front look is, I think, the concerning thing for myself in all of this.
I quite agree, and to complement that, I think that we need to support and respect families that have been in the same home for generations. I mean, it's a very important part of our community. And we need to be realistic on the economics for what they can afford, or how we can help them.
When someone asked, you can't hear back there very well, and the little girl was facing this way, but someone asked about color schemes or something, and I think I heard her say they were recommending earth tones or something.
That's what they label it, and
But that's not the right thing. Is there any way that we could word it, Frank, that would make it more, not somebody from up in
Well, I think
Michigan?
right. I think we're now getting into planning and zoning, but yes, earth tone sounds rather blah, and we are Florida, and one of the most eye-catching properties, and I think actually looks pretty neat, is the laundromat down here on Summit with its beautiful blue and yellow colors. It's just striking, and it's so florid.
being with the Preservation Society, it's right on the mark for the year it was built.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's appropriate.
So,
Yeah.
candy
agree.
stripes on a building, I have no problem with that, it's
I
This is
just
Florida.
wondered, I didn't realize that they were going to get into wording of color schemes in the code.
Yeah, and what's, well, I've been on this board over 25 years, and I know, the building across the street, Cricket. So when they painted that building, some members that was on this board, they almost died. Which was petty to me, because I thought,
That's their color. mean, that's
I thought it
Cricut's
was,
color.
I thought it brought some life to up here, cause after 3 o'clock, I don't know where we at in Crescent City. And that's not the Crescent City that I grew up with. And Marion, I think we're the only two in this building, this is our home. And Crescent City, this used to be a pop-in little town, and now it's bored. And you would never know the Crescent City that her and I knew. And so,
one of the few recommendations I would have on those, on paint, is reflective paints, because at night, lights can shine off them and actually reflect into oncoming traffic and things like that, or can really be disturbing to people, because they can, they can just be, as it states, reflective, so that, those types of colors should not be used. But those are specialty paints anyway.
But I think both of those, like you said, the laundromat, and I think both of those buildings there, that gray, that green, to me, it looks nice. To me, it looks nice.
So when it gets to the point where they actually, I didn't see it in the writing, but does it say that they recommend earth tones?
They label it earth tones, and I told Rebecca that I will be having comments at our next meeting about,
Okay.
and I suggested it be building colors.
Earth tones is what you see right here.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah, this is our.
This is ugly.
Yeah,
This is all earth tones.
yeah, because I'm a big fan of earth tone colors
Panels, everything.
on certain things, but.
I will
They're
send you
beautiful.
all the list of the different colors. There's different colors that they suggest for different types of buildings. So it's not just earth tones, it was different types for different types of
There's
buildings.
palette sets.
But
That would be
that
great.
sounds like
Everybody.
that sounds like an HOA, having
Yes.
palettes, where,
Yeah.
you gotta have this color matching with this color, matching with this color. And to me, that is not, generally speaking, what people wanna see.
I want to make a comment. You talked about facades and that, I think that goes for all architectural properties here in our village. And the thing is, I've been here going on 6 years, and I've seen a number of corrugated steel buildings go up. I've seen a number of corrugated carports go up, which are on the front, and in no way does that give me a warm, fuzzy feeling. And it's not architecturally pleasing, period, but it goes up, it gets approved, it's there. And the only thing that's gonna happen to it is it's gonna rust and fall down, or a hurricane's gonna take it away. So if we're concerned about pleasing architectural designs, why are we allowing that?
Well, you brought up a very important thing that we should look into.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got,
I agree.
one carport in particular that I think you could put 6 cars under it, and it's right in the front of their house, and they have a beautiful little house. But the carport's as big as the house is, and it's just a big metal frame, corrugated steel.
Do those get permits? I mean, do they come and get to the city and get permits?
No, it goes through the county.
It goes to the county.
Well, when I did my shed, I had to come to the city first and get a letter from the city manager that I was approved to do that, and then I had to take that to the county. So somebody in this city, do they not come before you?
It goes to the planning and zoning director. And they have to get a letter from the planning and zoning director, and it has to adhere to our code.
I think our architectural standards for residential are way different than commercial. I think we're way more lenient in residential areas. And a lot of that is because of cost and things like that, as opposed to commercial where it's a little bit more strict.
Is that person county or city?
Which person?
That you would submit an application to, that you just referred?
Mark Correct.
Director.
Oh, I see.
Mark Correct.
Oh, I see.
And
The letter would have to come from Zev Cohen for them to take to the county with their plans, and it is reviewed by Zev Cohen first before that.
And I know another thing that I have a problem with, I guess we done ran into staff comment, and we've never addressed it. I think we need to have better fence ordinance. I just, some of these fence, it's just ridiculous. I'm not a fence person, but I think that we should look into how people are putting fence around their home. It is, I don't know why we let people take blocks and make fences around their houses, especially in the front. I never like that. And
Tallahassee has a code that you can't put a fence in your front yard.
that's that's what I agree, and then you got a tiny front yard and you got fence, and there's certain fences for certain size yards.
I know a specific house you're speaking of.
And yes,
Putnam
yes,
County.
yes,
Putnam County regulations on fences is you can do a 6-foot fence, all the way around your property, up to 20 feet from the street, and then it has to be 3 feet. And I think you can then, at the 3-foot height, you can bring it up pretty close to the.
yeah,
to the
and
road.
that's crazy, that's,
We have our own ordinance, don't we?
We do, we have provisions in our code for it.
Right.
And it doesn't need a permit, necessarily, not all fences, some do. But replacement of existing fence and things of that nature does not.
It just still needs to meet the criteria.
It just has to meet the
Setback
criteria. Correct.
Criteria.
Correct.
When we put our fence up, I called the city and they directed me to call Putnam County, for the, I guess, zoning enforcement. And, when I called him, he's the one that told me what the criteria was. And he said that Crescent City applies to the county code.
I planted a hedge,
Not like a living
buggy
fence.
here with thorns.
fence can be there,
Thorns doesn't freeze it.
it's the front,
We do bogeybilly.
Yeah.
on my back.
I don't know, it's under my daughter's window.
Oh, yeah, they're afraid may I make a comment?
Yes,
Thank you. So I want to comment that it was recently brought to my attention that there's a historical property in town, and I don't want to name the location because we haven't talked to the owner, of course. I don't think that would be right. But it's a very historical home, and it had some roof damage that has never been supposedly repaired, and it's leaking. So there's another one too, where that's very historical, and it's just being neglected. With you can see that the walls are opening up, and it's a shame. So I'd like to move discussing with someone with the city to see what can be done to approach these people. And
Yes, one of the things, code enforcement, we've been working on this, we've had a workshop with the city commission over this, but we're having an exterior minimum maintenance standards that are gonna be adopted at some point in time from the commission. It'll give a little bit more teeth for approaching the houses that are getting into certain condition from an exterior point of view, nothing on the interior. When we're made aware through housing being neglected, or moving into a blight position, of course, code enforcement makes all effort to get in contact with the people. At the same time, they've been told to get the information over to Bonnie. Hence, Bonnie was on a ride with code enforcement today, because Bonnie is the CRA manager. What we're looking to do is try to have both of those departments work together to highlight some of the needs in the community and try to work with some of these people for CRA grants moving forward in the future. If they're, of course, in those districts, there are certain funds set aside every year that they have to apply for. We've had some of the historical homes apply for roofing grants that we brought to the commission that were denied because there's other major issues that need to be addressed for the house to be in a livable condition. And Bonnie has been tasked by me from day one since she came here.
really, my concern is bringing it to your attention.
Yes,
And because, and they're not all houses.
no,
So, but when we think about ordinances, a person shouldn't be allowed to have a historic property just deteriorate because they are not interested in it.
That's a tough one.
it's very,
That is a tough
it's a fine line. And we have to be careful of not overreaching, but I
No,
understand.
but we can research to see what can be done and what has been done elsewhere.
Yes, and what we're doing and what I tasked Bonnie with, and one of the reasons I hired Bonnie was her background in construction and management of CHIP program in St. Johns County. And one of the things I tasked her with when she first came here was to find alternative programs outside of the CRA's
Habitat.
grant programs. And so,
Operation Life by
Yeah.
Ship.
that's right, so there's
other
been,
programs out there.
there's been several that we are and have been in contact with.
Well, I'm sure of that, but
And there's,
I
they
just
don't
wanted to make my point.
specifically have to
The other
be
is
CRA.
that
Correct.
it may not, and the people may not be interested in the structure.
Right.
So we should look into ways of, somebody else may want to move it to their location.
And that's why I asked Pam to take me around to different places that I hadn't been before, because I've never been down some of these streets before, and I wouldn't even know those houses were back there.
Exactly, so why don't you and I get together?
Sure.
How would that be?
I would like to join y'all if I could in that. Looking at the houses and stuff,
Oh, yeah.
and ones that need to,
We may not be able to do it together.
oh, I see, I understand,
Oh, yeah.
I understand. That is the one problem with the Florida sunshine, yes.
I'll take you.
Okay, there you go.
You get
We'll
the top out.
collaborate. So,
That's
yeah.
all I had. Thank you.
But that is, and I appreciate that, we are looking into all of those options, everything above and beyond what we can do, our span of control, and Bonnie's been tasked with that, and so.
I guess,
we're
so
working
so
on
my
it.
point is, we've lost so much inventory already.
Yeah.
We need to do all we can legally to protect what we have,
And there
or
are
inspire.
there's some people who just can't afford to take care of their properties. too.
Exactly,
So
so
this, you know.
how do we help them?
Right.
Some of them are like abandoned, there's, nobody's living in them, so it's a different animal.
And then at the same time, I mean, we ran into this with the CRA, we had money to give away without any payback, we had that money. We knocked on the doors, we talked to the individuals, and they don't want help. So what do we do at that point? And that's something that I'm gonna have to come with my commission, we're gonna have to sit down and have this conversation and.
You didn't knock on my
I was
door.
gonna say, here's my address.
Yeah, I don't think, you know, I think you really need to get the word out.
But it's,
I don't think you have to go anywhere.
it's a lot of ways to look at it.
Yeah.
So right now, Rebuild Florida, a lot of people are getting those homes from Rebuild Florida. And speaking of, the organization, during the 2017 hurricane here, we, on this end, the south end, our commissioners at that time said that we didn't have any storm damage down here, and that was not true. And so, we would have this housing fair, over there, we had it at the farmer's market, and people came, and one of the people that came was St. John Housing Partnership. And a lot of people were able to get roofs and, you know, cause we just reached out, we just put on this thing, cause we don't have no money, but that was one of the most important thing when we organized the Concerned Citizens of South Button, is to be a resource, to find, help for people. So in the process of of our commission in Putnam County, telling the state that we didn't have any damage, which we did down here, a lot of it.
Right.
And so what happened was we kept fighting, and I will say, Rick Scott was not one of my favorite person, but if I ever meet him, I will have to tell him, because I'm gonna give you props, what proper is, you know, he took care of the state of Florida. He really did. And he took care of South Putnam County because he said, why are these people still asking us for money? And he sent that money here, but a lot of people won't acknowledge that, what happened. And these people got rules, people denied, they refused the services too. So I understand what you're saying. So it was one time that if I got a house, they did it, you know, they tear down your house. They do it based on the number of people living there. So I'm a elderly lady and I'm the only one live there. I have this 4-bedroom house that, I've raised my children and they're going on, but this is the family house and I'm still living in it because I'm living. But it needs work done to it.
Right.
The government builds me a new house or whatever grant, but how many bedrooms are they gonna give me? One. So that is another reason why we have all these people who have accepted the Rebuild Florida houses now, because one of the things that they were doing to give you back what you already had. So that's why more people. So that's a part of it that you're running into because people can't trust the system.
Right.
Yeah.
They can't trust the process.
Right.
Of what is going on. So one initiative that Florida was trying to do is get rid of all of these old houses that are ran down.
Right.
And so, my house on Main Street, I found somebody to tear it down because everybody wanted to charge too much money to tear it down. So the house at 21 North Main Street, my dude, he got a lot of houses that he's tearing down. So, but that one will go after a while on Main Street. So, which is historical, because since, it is a historic house, and we did, when it was researched, but it caught on fire, and all those years I was trying to find somebody to go in, if I could just tear it down, build it back from the, and not tear down the floor.
Right.
Because the floor in there is solid, because so I'm still hoping that our Mike can do that and slowly reframe it and go back. If I can't find that out by the time he gets around to me to tear it up, just wanted somebody to walk in and say, okay, you can tear everything down and we could start back from the floor up, because I could do that, slowly, but I could do it. But that's something to think about when these people are saying no, because they really don't understand.
Right.
And now, another crazy thing that we're dealing with, we have all of these folks who are moving in here, and where we were a community. And Marianne, I know her family lives back there, but this road is here, this is my property. I'm not gonna shut her out, because we family, we know each other. And I know this is my property, but they need a right of way to their property. A lot of people moving in here and they're shutting those right of ways down. My friend, her elderly parents got shut out of their house for 6 months. Error, and that the county, they knew that was a right of way, and they made a mistake. And this elderly man had to try to walk out the woods from where he was born. He was born on this property. Because new people moving in here and the county is not doing what their due diligence to say, hey, that's a right of way. You might own that, but you can't shut those people out. And they shut them out, and they had to get a lawyer to, and they really, and the lawyers they had, thank God for favor, because a big dog came in and sent his people in there and paid for all of that for them, because they didn't have the money, because they were gonna do them in. But that's something that we're dealing with, because my cousin can get a house around there off Clemens, but she's dealing with right-of-way issue. And all her life, everybody's been able to go up in there and no problem. And why are we doing that? Allowing people to come in by property and we're shutting them out. It should be, you own that, that's that, but it's a right-of-way. You cannot shut those people out of their
That's right, I
property.
think it's called historic. Right, with radar, historic use, that
But-
once it's used
but
for a
they're-
certain period of 20 years, yeah.
Yeah, and so those are a lot of things that I know personally that are going on, in this community. And we gotta, like I said, we gotta accommodate everybody that live here, because I know, honestly, I'm one of those people in my family. I know that we've been here and we took care of this city before people started coming here.
Was there some way that we can make that an ordinance that people can't close those right of ways? I mean,
And the biggest problem though having it
Municipality do
is
something like
the
that?
county. is the county. They're the biggest people with the problem. And we deal it, and you said ship. So let me tell you, people go up there from this end of the county and put their name on that list, and they're not being fair to us down here. They're not. I remember when I was unemployed, I put my name on the list, my dad and my sister. We kept calling. And one day my stepmother said, Ronnie, when you go up there, go by the county check ship. I went up there, they don't mark our name on. So if the three numbers on there, we're supporting one another. If you can't get me, call this number. None of us was called. So, and that's not only just my story. They are not, when this money is distributed, it should be so many houses on this end, so many houses in Palaca, so many houses in West Putnam with the ship money. But it's not going like that. People are really going up there for the services, but they're not getting, we are not being funded properly down here, our tax dollars. So all of those are scenarios that you need to keep in mind that are going on. So, because they don't like us down here, because we got the best piece.
I've got a good relationship with the
It is
partnership.
beautiful here.
So
This is
I'll
my
talk to
home
them.
and I love it, so, yes.
I just want to add something on your right-of-ways.
Mhm.
There are deeded right-of-ways,
Mhm.
and then there are community accepted right-of-ways, like you're talking about. I know my family, we just drove over this, but it was never a deeded right-of-way. So
Mhm.
that, it's a legal fight.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the
That you
issue.
would ensue,
Mhm.
regarding right-of-ways.
So, so I own this property. If they hadn't had the people to fight, they own 12 acres out there. They would have never been able to get back on their property. Yeah, so, yeah.
Title search, title insurance company, gotta get the title search.
Yeah. So, okay, all right, so I guess staff concern, public comments.
I actually think title companies insure people in reference to deeded right-of-ways. If you buy a piece of property and it's landlocked, then I think you have a right to get a monetary reward or to help you with legal, so that you can open that up. But right-of-way is a tough issue. When I lived in Orlando, I dealt with a power company right away. And they said, well, we've always used that. We've always drove our trucks over there, Well, I said, you're driving your truck across my property, it's not right. But that's a big issue.
All right, any board member comments? Confirm future meeting date, so our next meeting, I guess, will be September the 17th as well. So,
Submission deadline.
okay, and 7-day, deadline as well, okay? All right, if there's nothing else, we can go home, I guess. I see the second half of the game. We're sure. I'm silly, y'all, I like to have fun.
How's Kim?
Okay, she's fine, she got stuck, I text her, and she got stuck in the